You're just gonna jizz in me and then that's it?
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again. Boy, we do some crazy shit with our money, don't we? Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on knives just to add to a collection of other knives that we spent hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars on. And at some point, it gets to be a little more challenging, little harder to spend that kind of money, and a little bit harder to decide what you feel you really need because you've already got, for all intents and purposes, everything that you need. And that's why I've really been enjoying this recent influx of super low priced, yet premium, high quality, good material folders that have been popping up on the market. This Tempest Knives offering that I'm getting ready to show you is another one of those. Now, it's nothing crazy. It's not super innovative. It's not crazily designed. It doesn't have very exotic materials. It's not over the top. It's just a really nice knife at a really nice price. Wipe some of the streak marks off of there. This is the upcoming Jetstream. This is the prototype of the Jetstream. And it's your basic titanium liner lock with a really nice action, nice size blade window, easy to access for thumb flicking, thumb rolling, reverse flicking, and it's got an abbreviated flipper tab. So, if you like that idea of multiple methods of deployment, this is probably going to be a good option for you. And it's a little bit of a larger knife. Some of the knives we've been seeing coming out lately in this price range and in multi-deployment options have been a little bit on the smaller size, 3-inch to 3¼ inch. Here you got a 3.5-inch blade. Everything that you see on this is titanium, except for the blade. The blade is 154 cm. And it's got a good amount of heft to it. One of the things that I didn't expect that I'm very pleasantly surprised about is the fact that you've got a gentle contour going on the frame. I thought it was going to be a slab-sided frame, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've certainly seen a lot of wonderful, successful, really good knives that were slab-sided. However, having that little bit of contouring really does add quite a bit to the overall ergonomics on what is otherwise a very neutral ergo knife, the way that handle is shaped. Let's get into the TLDW, see the high line look over the knife. Pros and cons, then I'll get into specs, and then we'll talk about my personal thoughts on the knife when we return. Okay, so here we go. TLDW pros and cons. We'll start, as always, with the pros. The first pro is the fact that this is a little bit of a larger size knife, so it fills the hand nicely. Got a good sized blade on it, yet the blade stock isn't too thick, so it flips out really nicely, breaks that detent with authority, and is nice and smooth. That tall blade profile really gives you the feeling of something that you can really do a lot of cutting with. But again, it's not an overbearing knife at all. I don't know how I keep getting smudges all over this thing. Even when I'm not touching certain areas of the knife, like around the pivot, it keeps getting smudged. I have no earthly idea why. Okay. Another pro. At this price range, not getting the paperclip wire pocket clip. I'm really, really happy to see that. Now, while I've grown to appreciate the operation and the utility of a paperclip style pocket clip, it just never looks really good. Now, I'm not going to give huge accolades to the design of this clip. It is a very straight, basic clip. And it's not really representative of anything else in the design of the knife, but it's simple and it works. And thank God it is not a deep carry clip. It gives you about that much up out of the pocket, so you have something to grab onto when you want to extract it from your pocket. And I guess a big pro for me is going to be that slight contour on the titanium. Looks good, feels good. I'm not crazy about the finish. We'll talk about that in the cons. This is actually driving me insane. I've never had a knife that left touch marks on areas that weren't mirror polished. This is driving me insane. All right. Another pro will be the backspacer. Utilizing the hidden lanyard pin inside of the backspacer so you don't have to have a big giant hole in your frame. For people that don't like to use lanyards, they don't usually like to see something interrupting the flow of the design. And another pro is the fact that this is a reversible pocket clip for lefties and for righties, and you have a titanium filler tab that you could swap back and forth, so you don't have a big ugly hole sitting back here for that either. I do really like the action on this. Feels nice. They executed this well. So that's another pro. Now let's get into the cons. One con for me is the way that they've shaped the frame. Let me just knock my camera around. The way they've shaped the frame right here. Because this is the landing zone for your flipper finger. Now, while this isn't sharp at all, let me get this flipper tab out of the way. This isn't sharp at all. They've done a really good job of rounding it. It still protrudes enough where there's a little bit of, I don't want to say aggravation, but it is a little bit bothersome as your finger constantly flips across that. So for me, I've found myself enjoying the reverse flick on this a lot more. Yeah, just really not a big fan of that notch. And the other cons, yeah, this finish, man. I like how it looks. So you've got a bead blasted, then stone washed finish. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, I keep getting little smudges, spots, and streaks. And I thought maybe it was because perhaps some of the lubrication was leaking out of the pivot area, and I was just swiping it, but it is 100% completely dry, and I'm not a real big fan of, I'm not sure what's doing that. And honestly, I'm not sure what they could do to eliminate that or reduce it. See, there's more right there. I'm not really sure what the hell that is. And it's weird because I just don't ever recall having that issue with almost any other knife that I've ever handled. So it does seem to be unique to this prototype, and I just can't figure out what in the world it could be. And that's really it for the cons. And you guys know that I can usually come up with a pretty decent sized list of cons, especially if it's an inexpensive knife of any sort. Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but I promise I will make this very, very brief. I want to thank those of you that have joined and become channel members. You are helping to support the channel and helping to continue the growth. And if you've been considering supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form, because I do not have channel sponsors, I don't shill anybody's products, I don't get paid for anything, I don't do affiliate links. So everything is completely self-funded. If you'd like to help out and watch the channel grow and get more great content coming your way, please do consider becoming a member. So I have to congratulate KC for introducing a knife at this price range that, you really have to look deep to nitpick anything. There's no glaring issues with the knife. The lockup is good. The centering is good. The action is good. The feel in the hand is good. The pocket clip, as far as its retention, the way that it operates, and the fact that it's not a deep carry, that's all good. So there's not a lot to really pick apart here. You would want to say at $130 when we're used to comparing much, much, much more expensive knives, you would think that it would be a lot easier to find things that you really don't like about it. Where did they cut the corners? Well, one is with the blade steel. 154 cm is not a very expensive steel. But here's the thing about that. They could have looked at options and went, okay, we've got to go a little bit less expensive. I want to hit this certain price point. Put D2 in there. Put some other very inexpensive steel in there that people just don't like. Instead, 154 cm has been around for decades and has done an admirable job. It's a good EDC steel. It doesn't obviously hold its edge like, these crazy super steels. It's not super high corrosion resistant like a lot of these super steels are. However, it is a good, useful steel for EDC knives. I really don't know of anybody that would complain about it. They would if this was over, let's say, 250. They'd go, 154 cm, I'd rather see M390 or something else in there at that price level. But at $130, I really can't see anybody looking at this and going, they could have done better. I really don't see it. All right, let's get into the specs. I'm going to do this like I've been doing recently instead of leaving the specs on the screen and reading them individually and spending all that time messing with that. I'm just going to flash them up on the screen. You can pause the video and take as long as you need to read them. I think overall it's a good compact size, 8-inch overall with 3.5-inch blade. Certainly very reasonable for an EDC knife. And the weight coming in at 4.9 ounces, that's going to feel a bit chunky for some people, I think. And then for others who are used to just carrying larger knives, they're going to see it as a pretty lightweight knife. I see it as something that's easy to carry. It's pretty slim. Not that narrow. I mean, it's not as tall as a Spyderco or something, but, it's got a little bit of girth to it. It's got a little bit of size in the pocket. But it's not unwieldy and it's not unmanageable in any way. So I think overall, my personal thoughts on the knife are, it's a nice knife. It's nothing to do backflips over. And it's certainly nothing to pick apart and go, oh, that's really crappy. That's this and that's that. They could have done better and they could have spent more and they could have done this. I think at $130, and again, that's the pre-order price. I'm not sure what the regular retail is going to be once the pre-order has completed. Pre-order is going to be in early July, so don't forget about that. I should have mentioned that earlier. My apologies. I'll try to remember to put something up on the screen earlier in the video so that that's out there. Anyway, it's just a good pedestrian knife. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing that you could pick apart as having any serious flaws. It's just a good, basic, everyday knife. And at some point, we all need something like that in our collections. This is going to be that perfect knife for you to carry around every day, especially if you work in an environment where you use your knives a lot. Maybe you're an electrician and you're stripping wires all day. Well, you should be using wire strippers, really, not a knife. Or you're cutting cables all day, you're cutting zip ties all day. This is going to be a good utilitarian knife that's going to perform those tasks. It's going to feel good in the hand, and it's going to look pretty handsome while it's doing it. Could it have fancier materials? Yeah. But, hey, stupid.
Hey, stupid.
you're spending $130. You're not buying an exotic knife. You're not buying anything outlandish or crazy. And I think that's something that KC does very well. He's got a very, what is going on here? He has a good way of designing knives that have everyday user appeal instead of having crazy high curb appeal, because he could be putting Damascus back spacers and Damascus pocket clips and doing crazy, ridiculous finishes on the blade and charging an extra $100, $150, $200, $300 for it. But he's not. He's looking at this as everybody needs a good user knife in their collection, but it doesn't need to look like garbage just because we're calling it a user knife. It doesn't have to look cheap just because the price is cheap. So he's got a good balance going on here, and that's what I appreciate about the stuff that he's been offering. So there it is, my friends. There is the Tempest Knives Jetstream. Live and in color, and with all of its smudges intact. What? I don't know what's going on. It's driving me insane. There are going to be two different options. You can go for a blue anodized titanium with a stonewash blade, and then this one, which is being called reverse tux. Maybe go for the blue. Maybe it won't splotch up like this one does. I doubt that it's a problem with the knife. It's probably a problem with me. I mean, I don't think I have anything. I don't have anything on my fingers or anything. My hands are actually super dry today because we've had some dry weather lately. I say that, yet it's raining today, so I don't know. But in any event, that's just a weird little oddity that I don't recall ever coming across after reviewing hundreds and hundreds of knives. But I don't think that's something that you're really going to have to worry about when the knife comes out. Who knows? I have no idea. All right, I'm going to cut myself off now because at this point I'm simply just rambling. Thank you for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.